Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Militado ML01. I received this watch for free from watchdives.com. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another. You're always going to get my honest opinion on this channel. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'm going to be leaving an affiliate link down in the video description. That is to watchdives.com. I am now a Watchdives affiliate. So if you guys use that link, you're not paying any extra. I will just earn a little bit of commission. It allows me to keep the channel running. So thank you guys so much for the continued support. The retail price for this watch is $73 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, or anything like that. If you visit the website for the first time, they're going to throw a coupon at you. So I suggest you take that. And then also, I believe the threshold is $120 for my Escape 10 code here. So that'll get you $10 off. But I'm pretty sure it's either $120 or $150 that you need to spend to get that $10 off. So just something to consider. Maybe buy two of these. I don't know. The watch comes in 5 different colorways that you should be seeing on screen now. So this is the Sunray Blue dial that we have here, but they also have a matte black dial with no texture. And then they also have the other dial colors, which have a nice grain texture to them. It looks really, really good. And it also does look like you can get the salmon color and the white dial with no logo if you prefer that. So honestly, I think they all look absolutely fantastic. So the watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a mineral crystal, has a push-pull crown, a screwed down caseback, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, which is a little surprising, and the watch is powered by the Seiko VD78 quartz movement. So this one kind of came out of nowhere from Militado. They typically stick to just military designs, hence the name, but then they dropped this beautiful vintage Patek homage, or I guess a more modern, the Baltic MR01. So it's unfitting name aside, it's a wonderful little dress watch for next to nothing. I say we get into all the details, but before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the Ixtao 5303 diver. Got it actually on a Watchdives Shark Master bracelet because I can't for the life of me get the stock bracelet back on this thing. But really awesome watch. Go check out the review for that right up here. Right, so let's get to the dimensions. We got a diameter of 36 millimeters, case thickness of 10.2 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, and link to end link is 43.9 millimeters. And on the supplied leather strap, it weighs just over 44 grams. So the size on this watch is great. That 36 millimeter dress watch, I know that's going to be a great size for a lot of people. It's just a tiny small for me, but I still think it works. It does wear maybe just a little bit bigger just because of that flat bezel there, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But yeah, I think it looks really, really good. It's got nice curve down to the lugs as well. That really nice thin 10.2 millimeters thick. That is with that crystal. So it wears very, very nicely. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. Here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it wears really nice. I kind of thought this was 38 when I first got it on wrist, but it's definitely 36. So, but I think it wears nice. It does wear pretty good. I like the curvature of the wrist, or curvature of the lugs there, and I think it all looks really, really nice. Getting it into some direct sunlight, you can see that beautiful sunburst dial there. Really, really happy with that. And the crystal, it is a mineral crystal, and it does cut down on reflections quite a bit. So clarity of the crystal is no issue for me. All right, let's go throw this on some straps. Very sorry about the wind, but yeah, this is what we have to deal with today. Yeah, here we are on a Milanese mesh strap. I think it looks really good. Very, very shiny watch, but a very shiny bracelet as well. Really kind of dressy, and yeah, I mean, I think it just looks good. Trying to keep you guys out of the wind. The wind is kind of crazy today, but here's a little bit of a different, outdoor, but in the shade. I think it looks really good though. And here we are on a vintage leather strap. This one is linked down below. And yeah, I do think that one looks pretty good. Dark blue. It doesn't really match the dial, sadly, but I still think it looks pretty good. Maybe a different colorway would look a little bit better on this one, but I like the strap. I like the taper. I think it looks good. And here we are on a gray suede strap. This is from a Merkur, and I think that looks pretty good. The blue and the gray always works for me. Here it is out in some nice sun, as you can see again. Love the reflections on this watch. All right, and lastly, here we are on a gray Perlon strap. There's one layer underneath the watch, and it still wears great. This is kind of a very lightweight and kind of vintagey look to it, so I think it kind of fits this watch. All right, let's go back inside, and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing. And case finishing on this watch is very nice. I was surprised at how nice it is, how crisp it is. So especially for the price point, you're not going to find much better than this. I can't find any flaws in this for $75. So you have a fully polished top side of the watch, as you can see here. So you have a polished bezel, polished tops to the lugs. You can see the bezel, it's actually flat. There's no slope to it. It gives kind of an interesting look. I like it in the fact that it's different than everything else. Everything else has a kind of a sloped bezel. So this one, I kind of like it. I know some people aren't a big fan of that, but it's just something a little bit different. I think it looks really good, especially with how it kind of matches right up to the crystal there. I think it looks fantastic. So working our way to the case sides, as you can see here, again, really nice turn down to the lugs there. Mostly a flat case, but it does have that nice little hook there, really coming to a sharp point here with your drilled lugs. Really nice fine brushing on the sides there. I'm getting up real close. Usually at this price point you kind of see them skimp out on the brushing a little bit, but not here. It is very, very impressive. Even the transitions between the top and bottom surface there, really nice and sharp. It's kind of easy to do on a watch case like this where the the transitions are pretty sharp themselves. There's no kind of gradual change from this top surface to the bottom surface. So it's kind of easy to do on that, but still, they nailed it. They did a very good job on it. Flipping it over to the crown side here, you have an unsigned crown, kind of a bummer in my opinion. I'm not really sure what logo Militado would use on that, but signing that crown would have been pretty nice. I think that would have just kind of put it over the top. But as you can see, the finishing on this case side here, again, very nicely done. Flipping it to the bottom side here, you got a circular brushed case back, kind of have your Rolex style case back, which I am not a fan of. I wish they would just use simple notches. Other than that though, the case back is fine. It's unsigned again, but not a big deal, especially at this price. Everything is smooth, it's comfortable. This bottom edge of the case here, it's not sharp or anything like that. Even the tips to the lugs are not overly sharp. It's a very comfortable watch to wear, especially because it weighs absolutely nothing. So yeah, I am very, very impressed with the case finishing on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. So it is a mineral crystal. I tested it. It is mineral. And, some people are going to balk at that, but for $73, I can't complain about mineral crystal. It's a very nice mineral crystal. I talked to Watch Dives. I believe they said a sapphire crystal in the same shape would be an extra like $30. So you're going to pay $100 for it with a sapphire crystal, and I really don't think it's necessary. Mineral crystals are fine for a watch like this. It's a dress watch. You're not going to be beating it up. And the fact that mineral crystal in general is less reflective than sapphire crystal means that you don't really need anti-reflective coating on it. I don't know if there is any AR coating on this or not. I don't see any blue tinge to it, but maybe it might be just the dial playing with me. But I don't think it needs any more AR coating. I think the crystal is clear enough. It's got a beautiful shape to it, as you can see there. You can see at the extreme angle here, the dial kind of starts to fold back. So there's just a teeny tiny bit of distortion, but this is a double dome top hat mineral crystal. Nice distortion on the edges. I think it's a fantastic crystal. It's kind of not showing up great here, but when you get it outside and get it in natural lighting, and just everyday lighting, the crystal almost looks like it's not there. So I'm really happy with the crystal on this watch. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial, as I said earlier, really nice, strong sunburst blue. It's not like overly strong on this model, but I think it looks fantastic. They do offer this with that kind of textured grain dial, which I also think looks really, really good. You get a printed minute track around the outside with your 5-minute increments. Looks really good. And then you've got your applied numerals, the breguet numerals. They look absolutely fantastic. I'm sure they're just kind of stuck on the dial. I don't know, but if I was going to complain about one thing, it would be, I guess, the depth of those things. They aren't super high, but I think they look absolutely fantastic. I don't see anything out of alignment either. It all looks really good. You do kind of have this weird little dots there at the 5 and the 7 o'clock. Unusual choice, but I think when they brought this design over to Reddit Chinese Watches, we kind of all agreed that looked better than cutting off numerals. So that's what they decided to do. I think it looks really, really good. The numerals themselves are done very nicely. The handset is done very nicely as well. Nice long minute hand there. Leaf style hands. Again, the polishing on the hands it's good. It is surprisingly good. There's no fluff under the dial or anything like that. It's all done very nicely. You got the Militado logo there. Again, that's something that we voted for. I think if you're going to put this logo on this type of watch, it needs to look like that. The name doesn't fit, like I mentioned, but I don't think it looks bad on the dial there. Working our way down to the sub-second here, as you can see there, concentric circles, again, really nicely done, nicely printed. And if we get in real close, you can see that second hand actually hits all those markers. I was surprised to see that. Pretty impressive for such a small detail. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. Even if it was off, I wouldn't care at all. But yeah, the handset on this watch is excellent. Really, really nicely done. Even that minute hand there, it's pretty nicely finished off. You know, you could leave a hole there, but they did a good job making it look pretty good. They could have done a little bit better, but for $73, I'm not going to complain. Absolutely no lume on this watch either, so that's not something we have to worry about. But yeah, the dial on this thing is obviously the star of the show. They absolutely nailed it. It looks fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko VD78 quartz movement. It's a no-date quartz movement with a sub-second dial there. Yeah, it's great. I've got no complaints with it. It can barely hear the watch. Even when I put it up to my ear, I can hardly hear it. So it's a very quiet watch. You don't have that Timex ticking like you do on some cheap watches. This one is super, super quiet. About a 3-year battery life. I believe it's plus or minus 20 seconds a month for accuracy. So yeah, it's a great movement. They're cheap, they're reliable, and they feel nice. So this one is operated by this 3 o'clock push-pull crown here. As I said earlier, just one pull out, and that does hack the movement there. And this is where you can set your time. There's no ghost date position or anything like that. So yeah, it's great. I've got no complaints with it. I think I might like an ST17 hand wound. I think that would be pretty cool with like a display case back. You know, that might be an option. But if you're going to give me a quartz movement and going to keep the price at this low, this is a perfect movement for it. I've got zero complaints with it. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this watch. So very early on when they first launched this watch, they launched it with Tropic straps. So kind of an odd choice for a watch like this, but then they came out with these leather straps, and this is the one that I requested. The leather strap, it's fine. It's about what I expected for a watch like this. It is comfortable. It's very flexible right out of the box. I had no issues with it. It is a little bit long, I'll say that. My 7.5-inch wrist, I am right here. So if you go any lower than like a 7-inch wrist, you're going to be cutting it close. So I would say budget for a new strap, not because it's a terrible strap, but just because it's just a little too long. But saying that, the watch strap is 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 16 millimeters. There's no quick release spring bars, but you do have those drilled lugs, which is nice to see. Mine, I'm just going to note it. Mine did arrive. One of the spring bars was completely broken, so the strap just kind of fell right off when I brought it out of the box, but not a big deal for me. I've got 1,000 spring bars sitting around, so I just threw a new one in there and everything's fine. But the strap itself, like I mentioned, it's decent. It's decent. The buckle obviously does not match at all. This is one that they just reused from their other watches. I'd like to see a fully polished buckle, maybe with the Militado branding on it. Something a little different, but you have one floating keeper and one stationary keeper. If you take a look at the stitching seems fine as well. I've got no complaints with the visual appearance of the strap. I think it looks pretty good. Even on wrist, it conformed right out of the box. It's nice and soft. It didn't irritate my skin or anything like that. It's just nothing fancy, obviously, for $73. But yeah, I think if you have a smaller wrist, you're going to want to plan on getting a different strap. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so there you go, guys. That is the Militado ML01, a Baltic homage, I guess. Absolutely love this watch. I wasn't a huge fan of the Baltic with the kind of offset seconds hand there. And obviously the $600 price point is a little hard to swallow, but for $73 to get that kind of look and that feel, I'm very impressed with the case finishing on this thing and the dial finishing. The crystal is very nice, even though it's just mineral crystal. It's a really, really nice little dress watch. I think you guys are going to like it. I like it a lot. This one's going to be staying in the collection. My wife even likes this one, so she might get this one. So yeah, I think, like I said, budget for a new strap. You're probably going to want to put it on a new strap. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.